Hey folks, welcome back again. This is Brett with Full Time in My RV. This will be RV video tips number 2. And appreciate you coming back and sticking with us. I got another 10 set of tips here for you. And the main reason that I've developed this site, again, as I've mentioned many a times, is that what I wanted to do was put together a site with information that I wasn't able to find elsewhere. That's why we're going to have more buying tips. We're going to have more financing tips, more insurance tips for RVs. But the main thing, folks, is I need y'all to interact with me. You need to send me some comments, ask some questions of things that you want me to look into or questions that you'd like me to answer. And I'll make a video and put them back up. I'll make videos on my days off, and since I work 2 days on, 2 days off all the time, in the law enforcement community, that's how we work. I'm able to do that for you. So let's roll back into the list again. This is the second set of 10 tips. So number 11, don't overfill your refrigerator. The RV fridge operates on a absorption principle, and they use different gases like hydrogen, ammonia, that are in liquid form in water. And what'll happen is there's no moving parts in this refrigerator like in your house refrigerator with a compressor, which actually pumps, like a Freon system through your refrigerator and actually pumps cold air into the fridge. This actually absorbs the heat out of the refrigerator, and the principle is if there's no heat in the refrigerator, then it must be cold inside. Well, for that to operate properly, there's two main things that you have. You got a thin system in the back of your refrigerator and your freezer section, which take up quite a bit of room. That's basically a heat sink. And if you overfill your refrigerator and you block the airflow to that heat sink, the heat's going to build up in your refrigerator. Because remember, that heat sink is going to yank the heat out of your refrigerator and put it out into the environment. And it operates off of either LP gas, running a little heater heating that liquid solution up in the back to get it to turn into a gas, or a electrical heater will run that, depending upon whether you're on shore power or you're boondocking. Also, get you a little fan for the refrigerator to circulate that air through the refrigerator. The better that airflow goes through the refrigerator, the more efficient the refrigerator is going to work. Now, it'll keep your stuff cool and it will freeze your ice cubes. But like I said in several other videos, get a countertop ice maker, because you don't want to fill your refrigerator full of ice trays and ice cubes. The one that I have, which I also recommend in the gadget section, I talk about this one all the time because it's a must. It makes ice every 6 minutes, makes 17 pounds of ice a day. You use bottled water if you don't like what's coming out of the tap. And so that's a good thing to do, and that also helps the clutter in your refrigerator. Number 12, a inline water filter at a bare minimum is a must. Shore water, anywhere you go, is flaky at best. Some places are real good. Most places ain't worth a crap. The water will taste like garbage even with the filter. But the main reason for the filter is to keep solids from getting into your water lines, building up and clogging your water lines up. You replace them about every 3 months. They're not real expensive. They're about $8 or $9, but that's worth a whole lot of money considering you don't have to run new water lines. Get a dehumidifier. Whether you use those little granulated damp rid, or you have an electric dehumidifier like I've got in the kitchen. The reason you want a dehumidifier, especially if you live in a humid region like I do down here in Florida, it's very humid. Anytime you run your ACs, you're just going to wind up having that water accumulate on your vents if you don't have a dehumidifier. Another thing to keep you from having that problem, don't run your Fantastic or your Max Flow air fans during the summertime while your AC's on. Granted, that gets the hot air out of the camper. You can run it for if you haven't had it on for a while, your AC on for a while, you can run it for a little while to get that heat out. But turn that thing off and close those lids on the vents as quick as possible, because if you don't, you're sucking all that hot, warm air to the ceiling. It hits the vent lines, which mine has ducted air conditioning in the ceiling. And everywhere where you have a line that's good and cold, you got rain inside the house because it just condensates right up there. Plus, you're running that shower. That's the only other time to use a vent is when you have a shower. One more quick thing, invest in vent covers. That way you can have those vents open when it's not hot outside and it's raining. You can have those vents open to pull any heat in the house out and get you some extra airflow if you've got your jealousy windows if you've got those like I do open. Next, number 14, change your incandescent lights to LEDs. It cost me $400 to replace all of the light bulbs, and I also replaced some light fixtures that were dated, and everything in this camper now runs on LEDs. You will save $10 to $15 per month if you're full-time living in electricity, if not more, depending upon where you live at, just by going to an LED. To give you an example, one LED light bulb one incandescent light bulb, you can run 6-7 LED lights on for the same amperage. And that also will help you if you're boondocking and you're living off of batteries or solar energy. 15, if your tank gauges mess up, don't freak out. You know, when I got mine was used. I've got some of the gauges that don't work, some that show a third of a tank, some that show full even after I've dumped it. People have used Calgon water softener to help clear those off. I've used it a little bit. I don't move my RV around, so it hasn't been quite as effective. You can also put ice in your tanks as you're driving down the road, you know, let that kind of beat the grime that's on those sensors off. But if you can't get your sensors to work, here's the easy trick. About every 3 days, dump your tanks. Gray water tank as well. I always put about 5 gallons in my black water tank because I don't ever want that thing dry because the solids will set on the bottom and then, you know, cause a problem. But about every 3, sometimes 5 days, if I'm not around a lot, I'll dump those tanks, and that's easy enough to keep up with. Use more water in your toilet. This is number 16. It's the opposite principle that you want to think about. You're going to try to save shower water because 9 times out of 10, a lot of y'all only have 6-gallon water heaters, and you don't have a 10-gallon fast recovery water heater like I've got. And you're wanting to save money or save water in the shower by having a switch on your shower handle, which I highly recommend getting a shower head that has a on-off switch. That'll save your water there. But when it comes to the toilet, when you flush that thing, use a lot of water. As a good rule of thumb, after you've done flushing it, you have that little foot lever. If you put your foot under the foot lever and lift up on it, it won't open the gate valve, but it'll put more water in the bowl. And that'll also help you when it comes to cleaning. One more quick thing on a toilet. When you're picking your camper out, if you can find one and you can afford it, get a camper that has a porcelain bowl. Those plastic bowls are a pain in the butt to keep clean. Number 17. Invest in some car shades like I got back there. This will help you on those hot summer days to get the heat out of your living rooms and bedrooms and areas like that. If you're a person that sleeps during the day like I do because you work midnights, they're a must because they'll block all the light and actually give you a pretty dark room. You know, my AC works great. I've got a extremely well insulated camper. If you ever look at the Keystone lines, especially the Montanas, you'll know they're 4-season coaches. But I'm telling you right now, in the summertime sun of Florida, when you get to that end of the day and that sun's beating down through that living room window, it lights your behind on fire when you're sitting in front of that window. So invest in those. They're cheap. They're about $3 a piece. And the beautiful thing about them is they're accordion, so you just fold them up and put them away whenever you want to have light in your house. Number 18, get a dog bone power connector. If you don't know what that is, if you're traveling around a lot, or even if you're moving from place to place, sometimes, you know, mine's a 50 amp power service and you don't have 50 amp, or maybe you have a 30 amp power service and you go to a place that's a 50 amp. Make sure that whatever you have, you've got the proper dog bone so that you can connect up to their power with little or no trouble. And those are real cheap. They're about $16 to get those. Number 19, invest in getting those thermal vent, insulated vent inserts and skylight inserts. In the wintertime, at night, that will help you keep your heat from going right through the vents. You know, in the daytime, you can pull them down to get that sunlight in. At nighttime, you can put that up there and keep the heat out. And lastly, number 20, get those 3M command hooks and fasteners that you see, because you don't want to be drilling holes in your walls. A lot of the walls in these campers, mine not so much, but some of them out there are just thin luan with nothing behind them to attach to. Those 3M connectors do 2 things for you. They'll hold a lot of weight, and 2, whenever you're ready to pull them off, you just pull that the adhesive strip out. That comes right off the wall without doing any damage. Well, that's this second set of 10 tips. If you all have any questions or anything you'd like to know, please make a comment. I will answer them. I'm on about every 2 to 3 days. And again, thanks for watching my videos. It's Brett with Full Time My RV.